This isn't a story of heroism. It's a story of survival. For a soldier on the Eastern Front in 1942, a single day was an eternity. It was a relentless cycle of hunger, cold, and fear, where the only thing you could be certain of was the omnipresent threat of death. Forget the glorious charges you've seen in movies. The reality of war isn't found in moments of victory, but in the endless hours of waiting for the end to come. This was a war fought in the mud, in the snow, and in the mind. The fighting on the Eastern Front was on a scale and of a ferocity humanity had never seen before. This is the unfiltered daily grind of a soldier facing that reality. A world where survival was the only mission that mattered. A soldier's day doesn't start with a bugle call. It starts with a shudder. It's a deep, bone-aching cold that has seeped through the threadbare wool of a greatcoat and settled right into the marrow. Before the sun even hints at its existence, he's awake. Not rested. Never rested, but conscious. His shelter is a hole scraped into the frozen earth, a dugout offering the barest protection from the elements and the enemy. The air is thick with the smell of damp earth, unwashed bodies, and the faint, lingering odor of decay that never seems to go away. His first sensation is hunger, a dull, gnawing ache in his stomach. Rations, when they arrive, are meager. A piece of hard bread, maybe some thin soup. Often, they don't arrive at all. By 1942, the Soviet Union's scorched earth policy had left parts of the landscape barren, but Germany's own supply lines were disastrously overstretched, making consistent provisions almost impossible. The struggle for sustenance was a constant, desperate battle in itself. Instead, the first order of business is checking the one thing more precious than food: your weapon. In the brutal cold of the Russian winter, machinery froze, solid. A frozen rifle was a death sentence. He'd meticulously clean it, his fingers numb, his breath pluming in the frigid air. Every piece of his heavy gear is accounted for ammunition pooch. The gas mask he has to carry, the entrenching tool. His life depends not on courage, but on this repetitive, disciplined maintenance. Around him, the war machine slowly churns to life. The low rumble of engines, an NCO shouting orders, the metallic clatter of equipment. They are cogs in a vast, indifferent machine, and the new day brings no hope, only the certainty of more hardship. They called it the Lanzer's life, the life of the common infantryman. The morning is usually the domain of boredom, a monotonous grind that chews away at the soul just as effectively as any bullet. The soldier's life is structured and regimented. Edo es what is told when he's told. A detail is formed, the task, shoring up their defenses. This means hours of back-breaking labor in freezing temperatures. Digging into the frozen ground is a Herculean task. The earth is as hard as iron, and every swing of the pickaxe sends jarring vibrations up his arms. They deepen trenches, fill sandbags, and lay communication wires, all while knee-deep in mud or snow. This work is done under a constant, low-level dread. The enemy is always watching. Snipers on both sides were deployed with terrifying effect, hiding in the ruins of cities or the vast, empty landscapes. This constant, invisible threat shreds the nerves, creating a state of hypervigilance that is mentally exhausting. Training is relentless. Drills are practiced over and over, fixing bayonets, rehearsing hand-to-hand combat, running assault courses until their bodies scream with exhaustion. This isn't about grand strategy. It's about turning men into instinct-driven weapons. Because in the chaos of close-quarters combat, there's no time to think. The psychological toll of this grind is immense. The soldier becomes detached, just moving through the motions. His world shrinks to the confines of his trench, his squad, and the gnawing in his gut. In a letter home, he might write of the cold and the hunger, but he could never truly describe the sheer mind-numbing monotony of waiting for the war to happen to him, a feeling that erodes morale more surely than a direct assault. It starts with a sound of high-pitched whine that grows into a deafening roar. Incoming artillery. The air splits apart as shells scream down, and the world dissolves into a storm of noise, fire, and flying earth. There's no time for bravery. Only the primal instinct to flatten yourself against the bottom of the trench, to become as small as possible. The ground bucks and heaves, dirt and shrapnel rain down, and the screams of the wounded become part of the symphony of destruction. For the soldier, combat is chaos. In the rubble of a city like Stalingrad, where vicious house-to-house fighting began in late 1942, battles could rage 4 days over a single, crumbling building. In the forests or vast plains, combat was often fought at brutally close quarters. It's a frantic, desperate affair of grenades, submachine guns, and sharpened trench shovels. Today, it's a patrol. An order comes down. Scout the tree line a few hundred meters ahead. Moving out from the relative safety of the trench feels like stepping off a cliff. Every snap of a twig sounds like an ambush. He moves in a low crouch, rifle ready, his heart pounding against his ribs. Then, the world erupts. Muzzle flashes from the trees, the sharp crack of rifle fire. The soldier dives for cover, his training kicking in. He returns fire, not at a person, but at a location of flicker of movement. A patch of shadow. The fight is short, savage, and deeply impersonal. He doesn't see a face. He sees a threat that must be eliminated before it eliminates him. When the firing stops, the silence that follows is even more terrifying. The patrol pulls back, dragging the wounded. The soldier's ears are ringing, his hands are shaking, and the metallic taste of adrenaline floods his mouth. He has survived, but the experience leaves another invisible wound. U.S. Army studies later noted that a soldier's combat effectiveness dropped sharply after continuous fighting, with some estimates putting that threshold as low as 30 days. He is one day closer to his own breaking point. The aftermath of combat is quiet and grim. The wounded are tended to by medics with woefully inadequate supplies. Morphine is a rarity, and infection is a near certainty. The dead are gathered, their personal effects collected. There's no ceremony, just the mechanical task of dealing with the fallen. Seeing comrades killed or wounded is a constant trauma that accumulates with each passing day. For the surviving soldier, the lull is a chance to confront the realities of his existence. He might find a moment to sit, his back against the cold earth of the trench, and try to eat. The food is tasteless, often frozen solid. He might try to write a letter home, but the words feel hollow. How can you describe the stench of death, the sound of an artillery barrage, or the haunting look in a dying friend's eyes? The experience is so far removed from the world he once knew that it's untranslatable. This is when the psychological battle truly begins. With the immediate threat gone, the mind is free to wander. Flashbacks of the fight, the faces of the fallen, these images play on a loop. In World War I, this was cadet shell shock. By World War II, armies had new names for it: combat fatigue, battle fatigue, or war neuroses. It manifested as uncontrollable tremors, sensitivity to noise, and periods of amnesia. Every soldier fears it. He sees it in the thousand-yard stare of his comrades, in the man who suddenly breaks down and weeps, or the one who smashes his own head against a foxhole wall. He tries to push it away by focusing on simple tasks: cleaning his rifle again, reinforcing his small patch of trench, or huddling with a comrade for shared warmth. The shared misery creates a powerful bond. Knowing the man next to you is enduring the same hell makes it somehow bearable. Make man look a white European man, but the lull is temporary. As dusk settles, a new kind of fear descends. The fear of the night. Night on the front line offers no rest. It is a domain of terror, where darkness is not a comfort, but a shroud filled with unseen threats. The terror of night was universal in this war. As one American veteran of Guadalcanal recalled, his memory of the war was largely hard work, hunger, and sheer terror at night. The blackness amplifies every sound. The groan of a tree, the scuttling of a rat, each noise could be an enemy patrol probing the lines. Sentries stand watch, their eyes straining to pierce the gloom, fighting off the crushing weight of exhaustion. A soldier on duty knows that the lives of his sleeping comrades depend on his alertness. He's often paired with a buddy, back to back in a slit trench, each man watching the other's rear. It's constantly interrupted by the crump of distant artillery or the sudden, terrifying light of a star shell, which bathes the landscape in a ghastly, artificial daylight, freezing everyone in place like startled animals. Night bombardments were a common tactic. a form of psychological warfare designed to deny soldiers rest and shatter their nerves. This is when the mind is most vulnerable. The psychological trauma, held at bay by the duties of the day, floods back. It is estimated that more than 500,000 American service members alone suffered some form of psychiatric collapse due to combat. The soldier in his dugout is fighting a two-front war, one against the enemy he can see, and another against the enemy inside his own mind. He huddles deeper into his greatcoat, the cold a constant, unwelcome companion. He listens to the sounds of the night, the whispers of his comrades, the distant gunfire, the wind whistling through shattered buildings, and he waits for the shelling to start. He waits for an attack that may or may not come. But most of all, he waits for the dawn, hoping he'll be alive to see it. In the brutal reality of 1942, just surviving the night is its own victory. This was just one day. Tomorrow will be the same. A relentless, grinding cycle of hunger, cold, work, and fear. There is no end in sight, only the hope of surviving until the next sunrise. Millions of men, on all sides, endured this existence for years. Their war was not a series of decisive battles, but a long, agonizing struggle for survival against an enemy, against the elements, and against the slow decay of their own spirit. Their stories aren't tales of glory, but testaments to the endurance of the human body and the profound fragility of the human mind. The reality of war is not in how a soldier dies, but in the brutal, unfiltered reality of how he is forced to live. If this glimpse into their world was meaningful to you, subscribe for more explorations of history, not as it's often told, but as it was truly lived, and let us know your thoughts in the comments. Understanding their reality is the first step toward honoring their sacrifice.